Okay, I got asked, and I really do like making sure that when somebody requests something that I do my part, because all I'm doing is holding the phone and talking. It's the least that I could do is read the comments and uh, try to apply them. Well, some of you want to know my thoughts on THOT audit. Now, I want to make sure I had to really crunch this because I was like, like what's the first thought in your mind, and then cling to that thought and think through it. What is it that made that enter the mind? So when I thought about the whole, the goddamn IRS are after me. The first person I really thought of, I don't know who any of these people were who got caught up in this. I don't know anything about women who paint their breasts on Twitch. Like, I know one of these people actually was, I guess, involved, like she was somebody who Gamergate went after or something, or she was some former writer for like Jezebel or something weird like that. I forget. But I thought that was kind of funny. But my whole thing was, I don't like taxes in the first place. I don't like the IRS in the first place. It's my whole mentality about it was like, well, does it feel like theft now? That's what I had to say to Venti. Brittany Venti put something out, and that was somebody who I actually felt bad about. Now, this is the first thought in my mind, was because she had posted something. That was the only response I made, and I said, it does feel like theft now, doesn't it? And I said, now also keep in mind, there wouldn't even be a thing called a sex worker if it wasn't for feminists banning prostitution in brothels. It's so funny how I'll be walking up and down the same street talking about a subject twice, 3 times a day. Brothels. So that was one of the things that really hit me, is I was like, one of the things about sex work, or quote unquote sex workers, is most mothers can't compete. Most women who are in the market to have children, they want to get married and have children, most of them are not going to act in the way that somebody will act if what they are there for is to please a customer. People might want to think, well, no, but wives want to please their husbands, and it's like, yes, yes, they certainly do. And it's not the same as a whore. No wife would want to be compared to one. And so when it comes to the whole, how could these people snitching on sex workers to the IRS? Okay, that is the low-minded part of that culture. The low-minded street whore, hose-need pimps, pimp hand strong, nigga what, that's what that's from. That's one of the problems with the whole thing of prostitution and sex work, is it brings out the degenerate and ugly in between men and women. And when the degenerate and ugly is accepted as something that you just have to deal with especially young men who are in the workforce, that they're looking for a good time. They're looking for a drink and a good time. And you have the Bakken oil fields there. You have an army base there, and that's what the boys do. And the women participate, and they willingly participate because they're getting money. In my view, it all works a lot better is fundamentally an unregulated, decriminalized market, and that the market will solve itself if you make giving people diseases a jailable offense. That's all you need. Once you punish people for passing each other sexually transmitted diseases, and especially that would be, of course, a breach of contract, most likely, in a sense. The person did not show up to get the clap. The person showed up for another reason. And so that to me is that to me the whole thing is a lot of prostitution and stuff like that needs to be decriminalized. That's in my personal view. If it needs to be extraordinarily loosely regulated so that there is that which is a criminal action that you can do to somebody, no matter if you give them money or not. And all this has been covered. There's a place called Las fucking Vegas here. You know, it's we've covered this issue. It's literally the oldest business in the world, and we're still acting like it doesn't exist. And so that's my thought on the whole audit of these women. I think it's bullshit to a great extent. But also, you made money, and in this country, the government gets a piece of it. And that's how it works. Until you want there to not be such an issue. The THOT audit, the women who have been victims of the THOT audit, they need to deal with the IRS. They need to get the Democratic Party to, one, end the IRS and end the Fed. Two, because you will get paid more money. Ladies, you will make if women want other women to make good money in sex work, you need the Fed to go. This has nothing to do with the Republicans and the Christians. This has everything to do with the Democrats controlling your vagina. And you all just don't want to admit it because you don't want to. Because it hurts your feelings, because that's your team and you believe in them and they're your crew, and you know, you stay loyal to your tribe. But you know, they got you. They got you. And you should have expected to get caught. You should have expected to get caught, because a lot of these fellas on YouTube who are playing video games, they're paying their taxes because they expect they're gonna get caught, and nobody wants to go into a fucking box because they didn't give the government their share of their fucking money. And now you all know that feeling. Now you actually know that feeling by just selling selfies. Isn't that it is criminal, it is wrong, it is dumb, and it's something that really, it didn't even need to happen, and it did. So now what are you going to do about it? I think a lot of people around the THOT audit stuff won't do anything about it. And here's my other call. I don't think the Democratic Party is going to do anything about marijuana. I don't think they'll do anything at all to reschedule it. I think they will hold that over their voters' heads for years. I mean really, I think this will go on for years and years and years. That they won't even touch this for like another 2. Like they won't touch this until Trump is up for election. That they'll start talking about decriminalizing marijuana. And the way that Trump wins 2020 is that he posits that a fundamental part of prison reform is rescheduling marijuana. Then he wins. That's it. I mean, it's almost completely over at that point, because then at that stage, it means that when California needed that business to take off, when Oregon needed that business to take off, when Colorado needed that industry to become a real, totally legit industry, and people need to file with the IRS. Remember, all these weed farmers are filing with the IRS. Okay, THOT audit? All these people are filing with the IRS who are growing weed. They're putting it on the line. You know, this is the kind of business that will get your kids taken away. This is done by normal people, by totally normal people. And yeah, so, and billions in loans, billions have gone into that industry now. They got to pay their taxes, so don't get too mad about it. You know, hey, you could have had people go after you in a totally uncool way, like they went after Alex Jones. You know, so it could have been worse. That's one of the key things with the THOT audit. It could have been worse. Now, oh yeah, so the one of the key things is I was a little bit upset. I guess, you know, I mean, you know, and not upset. It was, I kind of was like, oh, why'd y'all have to go and do that to Venti, though? You know, like, I know there's some people who are like, oh, she's a dumb thought. no, she used to date a Proud Boy who, and now I'm not even going to touch how weird and uncomfortable that whole thing was. That totally inappropriate. You just don't do it. No one should know about you and your woman. No one should know about you and your woman online. That's it. It doesn't matter if you guys got divorced and all that. You don't talk about her. She doesn't talk about you. It's all good. It's just honor. It's just an issue of fucking honor. I don't ever want to know that you always have that one friend who has to tell you. They got to tell you something that they do with their fucking dick, and you're like, why? Where is this normal behavior? Among what group of men is that normal to go to some place like that? And then I did this with my cock, and it's a total mystery to me. This really has always thrown me off. It's always thrown me off. But with somebody like Venti, one of the other issues about this, so that people understand clearly like where I'm coming from, is also, it's yeah, I think she's funny. I think she's funny and cute. She reminds me of one of the Shangri-Las, but with like light eyes, and I mean, shit, who wouldn't like, what kind of mixed race guy wouldn't like one of the Shangri-Las with light eyes, I'm like, god damn, this is one hot Puerto Rican girl, and then they're like, oh, she's mixed, blah, 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 and I'm like, wow, that's one hot mixed girl, this fucking thing, dude, this fucking thing, fuck me, just stay there, fuck, dude. And so, yeah, and so that's why it was like one part of this was like, so that people can get this. It's like, yeah, it's like, Venti's fucking cute, she's a little cutie. I feel a little bad that something like this happened to her. Just like with, if something bad happened to Roaming Millennial, or something bad happened to, what's her Rage After the Storm? She was a cutie as well, and real bright. These are bright, funny women, and so it's like one of those things of like, damn, that I feel bad about. But it's like, no, people paint their tits on Twitch. That one I'm just not feeling bad about that one at all. It's like, yeah, now you know what it feels like to be the Ralph retort. As I'm sure Ralph has to hire an accountant, and he's got money to pay Dick Masterson. He has an accountant. Motherfuckers want money. If you don't like the government taking your money, then you need to vote Libertarian or vote Republican. You need to get people in there who understand that you shouldn't be giving 2 to 3 out of every $100 you make to, old fat women who made sure that they are dying of diabetes. No, they made sure they did. No, they could have prevented it. There's a lot of, remember, most diseases people are really suffering from, that are all these horrible diseases that are plaguing our society, most of these are totally genetically known. We're just not dealing with the fact that people know what they'll die of. I will die of cancer, most likely, because people in my family die of cancer. But yeah. And so it's just one of those moments where I'm just like, that's how it works. And so now you got to do something about how it works. No, you don't have a problem. You just haven't made a decision. The decision is to deal with the IRS, simplify taxation, or deregulate and make completely untaxed all internet transactions. You know what will happen then? Then all of these Google, the internet will explode with money. There'll be so much investment in the American end of the internet. Look at Europe right now. Google's about to stop them from uploading shit to YouTube. That's humongous. That's thousands of videos a day. Like every hour probably. And so America's going to totally dominate the online internet content world for a while. China, who has any interest in what China puts out? And is there anyone, do even Chinese Americans watch stuff that mainland Chinese people put out on the internet? Remember, there was that one girl who simply sung a line from the Chinese national anthem, and she went to fucking jail. So this is actually kind of a nice thing that happened with Thought Audit, because now everyone has to put some thought toward why is your content supposed to pay for other people's problems?
No, you want to paint your titties. Those were your titties. You're the one who made sure your abs aren't catching up to your titties so that people know your titties aren't one with your abs, you know. And so you went out of your way to do that. You took all this time to do this. Now you got to share that wealth. Well, that's the issue, isn't it? You don't want to share the wealth, and that's totally fair. That is how you feel. That is valid. And it's totally valid. Who do you owe that money to? Motherfucking nobody. And now you need to deal with that at the ballot box. And if you don't want to deal with it at the ballot box, keep expecting to get this kind of fucking bullshit. And it's only going to get worse. Remember, there's only so many years people want to see your titties. There's only so long in your life. You got a good 4 or 5 years of that kind of bullshit. So you know, then your personality is going to have to win and shine through. And you're going to have to be a Brittany Venti. And actually kind of attract people with a little bit of funny haha. You know, and I don't really watch her that much. I can't. She's just too cute, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to stare at a screen with a girl who is just chatting with people. No, that's fucking ridiculous. I'm past my 20s, and so this was, yeah. So these were my thoughts on THOT Audit. All right, later.